Being a woman or girl who's still in their fertile years in these forced birther states has to be hand wringing, because what these forced birther Christo fascists are making these girls and women go through simply because they got pregnant is terrible. This seemed like a pregnancy that was wanted, and she had a husband and everything, but they still forced her to go through all of this. This woman, it says, Dallas woman tells Congress she had to leave Texas for a medically necessary abortion. Democrats call Lauren Miller to testify at a Capitol hearing to bolster their push for abortion travel protections. Lauren Miller and her husband were surprised to discover they were having twins with their second pregnancy, but quickly dove into new plans and joked about the unexpected two-for-one deal. The Dallas couple was soon devastated by more shocking news when their 12-week ultrasound revealed that one of the twins had serious abnormalities. Those abnormalities became more severe as the pregnancy continued, and doctors told her it was not a question of when, not if, the boy would die, Miller told the U.S. Senate hearing. Continuing without intervention would put the healthy twin and Miller at risk, she said. But when asked about options, doctors would abruptly stop and tell her they couldn't say more. So they could not intervene to help this woman and the healthy baby because this unviable fetus probably still had a heartbeat. Forced birthers would rather make this woman sick and harm the other viable fetus to develop. It's wild, their thinking or their lack of thinking. After one ultrasound, Miller said a frustrated doctor ripped off his gloves, threw them in the trash, and spoke bluntly. This baby isn't going to make it to birth. I can't help you. You need to leave the state. These doctors have got to be getting frustrated in Texas. That's the reason why there will continue to be a brain drain and a pink drain. Women leaving this state, girls leaving this state to go to other states for college or whatnot. Miller traveled to Colorado, where she was able to get a abortion. Miller shared her story Wednesday while testifying during a Senate hearing called by Democrats to promote legislation intended to protect abortion travel rights. Some cities and counties in Texas have moved to ban those seeking abortion from traveling through their areas, although the legal basis and practicalities of enforcing such bans are murky. They are literally trying to restrict the movement of women. And how will they even know if they're doing this if women are going somewhere for a abortion? Are they going to be pulling papers for women? Women need to really know and understand what is going on in these states. They really want to restrict and limit your freedoms. Okay, Democrats promoting federal legislation to promote protect abortion access have repeatedly cited the examples of Texas women who were denied medically necessary abortions, including Miller's doctor, Austin Denard, who had to leave the state for a abortion after learning her fetus had a severe lethal birth defect. Democrats, including U.S. Representative Colin Allred, Democrat from Dallas, who is challenging Ted Cruz, have put abortion access at the heart of their 2024 campaign message. Allred met with Miller before her testimony and hailed a decision by the Amarillo City Council this week to reject a proposed abortion travel ban. Allred has criticized Cruz for supporting the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe and Texas laws prohibiting abortion in nearly all cases. Texas women cannot be prisoners in their own state. And when I'm elected, I will stand up for women's freedoms to get the health care they need close to home and without the fear of criminalization. Cruz's aides did not respond to a request for comment. The senator sits on a subcommittee that held Wednesday's hearing, but he, along with several other members of the panel, did not attend the afternoon session. Cruz has previously expressed sympathy for Texans who face heartbreaking medical emergencies during pregnancy and praised the Texas Supreme Court for suggesting the state medical board provide more clarity on circumstances in which a abortion is allowed. During her testimony, Miller criticized the Texas Supreme Court's recent ruling against more than 20 Texas women who sued the state over abortions delayed or denied during medical emergencies. She said the court refused to give them clarity on exceptions to the state's law. Where does that leave Texans like me? My life was in danger. So was the life of my now healthy son. 18 months later, and I still wake up in a cold sweat, terrified by nightmares of being hunted down. She said her case demonstrates that exceptions to the state's law are a fiction and federal protection of abortion access is needed. Democrats also say abortion restrictions backed by Cruz and other Republicans put at risk access to in vitro fertilization. They have introduced legislation to shield IVF from state level restrictions, but GOP senators blocked these proposals, saying the legislation lacked religious liberty exceptions. Cruz has introduced an IVF bill with U.S. Senator Katie Britt, a Republican from Alabama, where the state Supreme Court ruled in February that frozen embryos created through the procedure are legally children. Their proposal would block Medicaid funding for states that ban IVF. Cruz and Britt tried to move that proposal Wednesday, but Democrats blocked the bill, saying it's insufficient because it would allow states to adopt IVF regulations so rigorous it would make the procedure practically impossible. Cruz has said Democrats oppose any legal restrictions on abortion. He said that positions is at odds with the majority of Americans and accused Democrats of using IVF as a distraction. Every single senator in this body supports IVF being protected, Cruz said. So I don't like how this brought in IVF because I do think that this makes it murky. But IVF is important to have as far as a conversation because they are treating these embryos like children, and since children are protected, that's what they talk about. That's what these Christo-fascist forced birthers talk about. They talk about how these embryos are children. I get bringing it in, but I believe that this murkied her situation. These people are willing to allow the mother to pass away and the viable fetus to pass away. And it's like they are collateral damage, basically. I keep doing these stories, I keep sharing these stories because women need to see clearly that they are disposable in these forced birther states. These forced birthers will let these women expire. They will let the babies expire. They will let women lose all of their uterus or ovaries or whatever because they have become septic or whatever, or they have to have a full hysterectomy because of complications that come with pregnancy. So staying in these states could literally be life or death in these states. But obviously, not everybody can just pick up and leave. Not everybody has access to money like that. But if you are looking to move, do not move to these forced birther states. Hopefully, these companies really look at how these states are being ran, the politics, so that women are not put in harm's way if they have to relocate. So all of this is going to play a part in the brain drain and the pink drain, women and girls leaving these states, and the demographic crisis is going to get worse. The medical field are going to get worse in these states. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.